Well, I'm going to speak for the Crimson Tide Nation here when I say that we all probably wish that every player in our program would stay in school for 4 years and graduate, develop a career off the field. But as you well know, and as I know, and as I have always supported our players in making the kind of business decisions that would best benefit themselves relative to their future as football players, in terms of developing a career as a football player, and the positives that each guy has to weigh and the negatives relative to the decision that they have to make in terms of what their future is. Now, we have guys that have made decisions both ways, and we still have guys that are trying to make decisions. But these guys that are here on this stage, regardless of what they choose to do, I want everybody to understand that they have represented the University of Alabama, our football program, themselves and their family, as well as any players that I have ever coached. They've probably been a part of a successful 3 years of college football anywhere in the country in terms of what they've been able to achieve with their team, as well as the individual success and accolades that they've been able to earn, including the Heisman Trophy for Mark and All-American honors for others. So we're extremely pleased and proud of everything that all these young men have done in terms of their contribution to the University of Alabama, their contribution to the Alabama football program, the effect that they've had on other people, based on the personal relationships that they've developed and the leadership that they've provided and the example that they've set. So at no time have I been more pleased and proud of a group of young men in terms of their accomplishments, their achievements, and the class that they've had in terms of how they've represented this institution. And in every case here, each of these young men have gone through the process of what we wanted them to go through to make a good choice and decision about what their future should be. Every guy was very diligent. Every family did their due diligence, and they were absolutely perfect in their behavior relative to trying to come and gather the information that they need to come to this kind of decision that they need to make that is best for their future. And I am fully endorsing each and every one of these guys in terms of the decision that they made. I think it's a benefit to our program to have guys at this level of success, that are having this level of success, to need to make these kinds of decisions about their future, especially when they're underclassmen. I think it speaks volumes of the development programs that we have for them here personally, academically, as well as the job that our coaching staff, strength and conditioning staff, and medical staff do in helping their development. So we're pleased and proud of their development, what they've done, and they will always be a part of the University of Alabama football tradition, as well as the future of the program, based on the way they've represented and the contributions that they've made. So what we're going to do here is have each guy come up, announce what he's going to do specifically, make a statement. I'm going to come back up and take questions from you, and then we're going to make each player available for you to talk to if you want to, rather than ask them questions up here on the stage. All right? Okay. Start with Mark.
First of all, I'd like to thank God for blessing me and putting me in this position to be here today. I'd like to thank my mother and my father and my entire family for being supportive of me since day one. I'd like to thank Coach Saban, Coach Burns, the entire coaching staff, the training staff, everybody from academics, and Coach Cochran for helping me develop as a person and as a player over the past 3 years I spent here in my life. It's been the best experience of my life, great experience, and I'll never forget it. And Alabama will always have a special place in my heart. I will always be, I always bleed crimson. So, but after a tough decision, and I put a lot of thought into this, speaking with my family, speaking with Coach, and I think it's the best choice for me and for my family, for me to move on to the NFL. So I just want to thank everybody that has supported me throughout my whole life and throughout my time being here in Alabama, and have helped me grow every single day as a person and as a player. So I want to say thank you, and to all the fans, you've made this so special for me. Every Saturday, running out there and just, seeing just packed stands, 100,000 people. I'll miss that, and it's something that I would cherish for the rest of my life, and memories I will have for the rest of my life. And so I want to say thank you to everybody, and Roll Tide.
I just want to tell University of Alabama thank you for giving me the opportunity to come here and play. It's been the best 3 years of my life. The fans were very supportive, the coaching staff, the facilities around here, academics are great, and I mean, it's been a hard process for me as well. I sat down with my family yesterday, and thought long and hard for it, and I made up my decision. I'm coming out too as well, so I mean, I'm gonna be in the draft this year. First and foremost, I want to thank Coach Saban for giving me the opportunity to come to the University of Alabama. I want to thank my position coach, Coach Davis, and my teammates who helped me work hard and gave me motivation when times I needed. And I want to thank the University of Alabama, Mal Moore, everybody, strength coach, Coach Cochran, real close friend of mine, helped me get me to the point where I am today. And I want to thank my friends, my family, everybody back home, out in Birmingham, Huffman, my big brother Pearson, who supported me through no matter what I was going through, my mother, God rest her soul, my other brothers, my 6 brothers and sisters, my uncles, everybody, thank you for helping me, because when people didn't believe in me, they did, they always had my back. It just had a wonderful time here at University of Alabama. I had no idea I would have excelled the way I did and had so much fun with my friends, Dante, Jones, Mark. We had a wonderful time together. And at this point, me and my family, we thought long and hard, and I decided to come out and I'm going to go to the NFL. And thank you, Roll Tide.
First off, I'd like to thank God for putting me in the situation that I've been in. I'd like to also thank Coach Saban, my teammates, my position coach, Coach Kirby Smart, my teammates, everybody on the coaching staff, Coach Cochran and John Deere in academics. I sat down long and hard and thought with my family, my mom, my aunts and uncles, and Coach Saban, and I've decided to return to the University of Alabama for my senior season. Roll Tide.
Coach will come up and take questions.
I want to reiterate now that one thing for sure that everybody needs to understand, and I know that there's a lot of passion out there for Alabama football, but the thing that we care about most in our program is the people in it. And in this case, each and every one of these guys, these young men, have made a very good decision based on all the facts that are available to them relative to what their future should be. We have guys that see the benefit of coming back to school, how graduation will benefit them. Each one of these guys understand that. Each one of these guys have made a commitment to me that they will do everything they can to finish their education, which if they're fortunate enough to play till they're 30 years old, they'll still have 50 more years to 50 years to live, and hopefully that education will be something that will enhance the quality of their life after football. We have a young man here that sees the benefit of coming back and finishing his education, but in all 3 cases of the guys that have decided to go out for the NFL draft, they have made a good decision based on their draft status, where they are, and the benefit to them and their family and their future. And they've done that because of the great things that they've done and the sacrifices they've made and the hard work they've done to improve themselves to reach this status. And the University of Alabama has benefited from that tremendously. And we appreciate their efforts and what they've done and are very happy and pleased that they have the opportunities that they have.
Coach, has your philosophy on players coming out, you indicated that this year that maybe you wanted to see players a little more highly rated, and for anybody else who you alluded to who's trying to make a decision, is there anybody else who would fit in that category?
Well, and these guys understand, you know, I think there's, you know, everybody has dreams of what they want to accomplish, and we want to help them fulfill those dreams. But at the same time, there's a reality that everybody has to deal with. And the labor situation in the NFL right now is something that each one of these guys had to sort of evaluate as a reality of how it could affect their development. And I think every guy did that. But I also feel like each one of these guys will be picked, God willing, based on their performance so far in their careers, that will give them the opportunity to still make it worthwhile based on the decision that they made.
Coach, the 3 players that are departing, would you mind telling us what you'll remember each of them for the most after they're gone?
Well, you know, I think, first of all 3 are great competitors. And I think when you're a coach, you always admire guys that are great competitors. You know, I talk about this quite a bit. Each one of these guys have worked hard here to be the best that they could be. And I think that's a tremendously special quality that sometimes people take for granted because it's not the human condition to be great. It's not the human condition to be as good as you can be. And each one of these guys have all done that. You know, Mark winning the Heisman Trophy is something that I always remember, to see a guy have a phenomenal season with a great team, but to always remember his teammates and be very gracious in sharing, you know, the best football player in college with his team, and how he's managed and handled that. You know, Julio probably is a guy that is as fine a person, as good a competitor, a harder worker, and as good a guy on the team as anybody that I've ever coached. Never an issue, never a problem, always respectful, always tries to do everything he can to please. And Marcel, probably from the day we recruited him, has done unbelievable things to make himself what he is. He's done a great job academically here. He's worked hard. He probably did as much developing here as anyone based on his background, where he came from, and the great improvements that he made through his work and his efforts, and has been an outstanding representative of this university and has played some phenomenal football.
I know you have a number of players still from the signing class of 2008 that are still playing, but when you look back at that class now, how good was it?
Well, it was a great class, and you know, these guys are a large part of it. There's still a couple other guys that are in that class that you know, are pondering what they should do, and we're trying to work through that with them. But you know, it's based on the production and the performance. There was a lot of opportunity for all these guys early in their career. These guys took advantage of it, made a significant impact on the program immediately, and based on accomplishment, this class probably had as much to do with what's been accomplished in the last 3 years as any class. And I would say that based on their performance and the results, it's got to be as good as any.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the NFL Draft Advisory Board. Can you give us some insight into how accurate it is, generally speaking, and how much can a player lean on it?
Well, I think that the thing that, and I think these guys would reiterate this to you, is that, you know, there's a lot of information out there now, you know, and I think the NFL Advisory Board does the best job they can with the information that they have available. They are not extremely specific and sometimes not as accurate because they don't have all the information. But the thing that our players here can benefit from, and this is probably one of the advantages of having been in the NFL for 8 years, is we have tremendous relationships with a lot of people there. So we get firsthand information from a lot of clubs as to where these guys would get picked. And I think that most of these guys probably base their decision more on that information than even what the advisory board sort of gives back to them, because it's very general, you know, in nature. And we give them much more specific information. And it's, you know, usually a collection of at least half the people in the league's opinion. So, you know, it's pretty reliable, and it's been very reliable in the past. And that's something that we try to provide for the players, and I think they all benefit from being able to make a decision because of that. But I will say this, that I think a lot of the stuff that the media sort of throws out there, you know, all these mock drafts that you see and people running ticker tapes across the bottom of the TV where guys are going to get drafted, that it really has no significance based on where a guy's going to get drafted. And I know it affects people's mind, but NFL teams make their own decision about that. Those are media projections and predictions, and it doesn't have anything to do with where a guy's actually going to get drafted relative to what a club thinks of him. So I think that is one thing that, whether it's our players or anybody else out there trying to make this decision, that's something that you really don't want to sort of put too much stock in.
Thanks, Coach.
All right? Now, we're going to make these guys available so you can ask them whatever you want to ask them. And again, we thank you for all that you do for the University of Alabama and how you cover these guys. And I'm sure these guys appreciate what you've done for them in terms of creating a lot of positive self-gratification with your coverage in the past. So thank you very much.
And good afternoon, everyone. I'm John Huddleston, live in the WVUA studio. You have been watching live coverage of the Alabama football press conference, where Nick Saban and 3 Alabama players announcing that the players are turning pro. Those players, of course, Mark Ingram, the running back, Heisman Trophy winner, Julio Jones, wide receiver, and Marcell Dareus, defensive lineman. One player that was present that did not say that he is going pro, matter of fact, said he's returning to school, is linebacker Dont'a Hightower. He will be returning for his senior season. Just to sum up what Nick Saban said, he said that he believed that all 3 of those players that declared for the NFL draft today will, in fact, be drafted. There was a lot to consider for these guys. Labor situation this year in the NFL draft, something uncertainty at this point. There could be a work stoppage, which could keep mini camps closed, but hopefully that will not happen. Also, to talk about Dont'a Hightower, you say, well, why was he up there today? That's not something that's really uncommon for the Alabama football program. Back in 2008, Antoine Caldwell, the offensive lineman, held a press conference to announce that he was, in fact, returning for his senior season. One other note that Nick Saban mentioned, there are other players from the 2008 signing class, which is what all these guys were from, Marcell Dareus, Mark Ingram, and Julio Jones, that are still pondering what they will do, whether or not they will declare for the NFL draft. So there could be more news on the draft front in the coming weeks. We will, of course, will have much more coverage tonight at 4, 5, 6, and 10 here on WVUA. Just to recap, once again, Mark Ingram, the running back, Julio Jones, wide receiver, and Marcell Dareus, defensive lineman, all saying today that they are turning pro. More coverage tonight, 4, 5, 6, and 10. I'm John Huddleston. We'll see you then.